Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. Really appreciate you taking out time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance. Now, we've done several sporty ball videos, but most of the time when I say sporty ball, it ends up being basketball and not football, which is my other favorite sporty ball game, right? So I figured I'd do a football game, and I wanted to give you a chance to see one of the, most classic football games, even though it's not a traditional football game, and that is NFL Blitz. We're specifically going with the Nintendo 64 version because, one, that's the one I played the most, but also I thought it was one of those games that were perfect for the 64. First and foremost, 4 players off the rip, right? The other thing was this is a game that was less about the FMV stuff and more about the polygons and whatnot, and the 64 was really clean, so I was able to capture that. But to kind of give you a synopsis about the game, right? It's football, but this was like NBA Jam meets the NFL. And I remember being a kid and playing games like, NBA Jam and, Double Dribble and all these kind of arcadey style basketball games and being like, man, if they just had a football game like that, that would be crazy. And you know what? In the late 90s, we got one, and it was a hit, just like everybody knew it would be from the moment the first kickoff happened. This was an arcade game first, and then it came to the consoles. And this was definitely one of the signs that the arcade was dying, because Blitz is a great game arcade wise or console wise, but this was one of those games that just felt so much better at the house. Passing the controller around, things like that. It's over the top football, but it's easy to pick up and play. 2-on-2s, 1-on-1s, tournaments, everything. And for me as a kid, this was one of those times where the NFL was in a really good spot. This was I knew players, necessarily didn't know everything about football, right? But I started to kind of know what was going on a lot more. And so, you call out players and feel like, you knew a little bit about football. You was talking big stuff like, oh, you playing with this team because they got this player and that player. I was a 49ers kid, so of course I'm running with the 49ers, and they got, Jerry Rice, Steve Young, J.J. Stokes, Garrison Hurst. We was out here making plays. And, all of these teams, when you start to cut it down, kind of like NBA Jam, right? When you cut it down to just the best on your team, you get, it's all just names. So, you could pick any team. You play with the Broncos, and you got John Elway, Terrell Davis, Shannon Sharp, Ed McCaffrey. You got people. You play with the Cowboys, you got Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. The boys is still there. So there was no real bad team. Of course, the Browns are the Browns, and they deserve whatever they get. But for the most part, people could play with their favorite teams and get a lot out of them and have a really good time. And, it also made to where you start playing it so much, you start picking different teams instead of the teams you normally pick. And you got a plethora of options. And, the game is just fun. It's about hits. It's about, making big plays. Also, it's about me trying to jump instead of throw the ball by mistake and then end up either throwing interceptions or just getting sacked. It's a learning experience. But NFL Blitz, as soon as you hear the announcer, it's time. There's nothing but a good time that's about to happen. Whether you rented the game, owned the game, at the arcade. If I see this at an arcade, I'm still going to play it. I went to Gallop and Ghost one time with me and my brother, and they had that Blitz machine, and we were like, oh yeah, it's got to happen immediately. No questions asked. It's NFL Blitz, right? This is a football classic. The same way that people hold up, like I said, NBA Jam, this is the NBA Jam of football. So we definitely, had to give it a shout out and let the people know that we was out here in these NFL streets, not NFL street, but you get what I'm saying. You get it. They understand. But I'd like to hear, 1, favorite teams, and then 2, what was a game, where you went off. Also, side note, the coldest beginning of the game can be even more impactful than in NBA Jam and in Showtime and Hang Time. You could accidentally cut on fumbles. So every time somebody got hit, there was a fumble. It could be really bad, really fast. So, we started to kind of have a unspoken rule of just don't press nothing. Don't make anything weird happen, because then the game doesn't feel like it counts the same. That's too chaotic. But yeah, those things I'd like to hear from you, and whatever else, memories of this game that you have. But as always, I appreciate you taking out time to reminisce with me. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Peace.